You think I wasn't going to mention her? You think I wasn't going to mention her? I brought her up. That's right. Okay, cool. Listen, guys. I think you're all nice and warmed up. You ready for the main man? Bringing that Monsoon season. Ladies and gentlemen, go crazy, go wild for Vidura B.R.
Thank you so much for coming. I hope you don't mind if I take a seat. It's been a long life, really. It's nice to meet all of you. I'm Vidura. I'm from Sri Lanka. I moved to the UK about 2 years ago, and since I moved here, whenever I'm getting to know someone and I mention that I'm from Sri Lanka, there's always a certain segment of the population that feels the need to tell me about their life-changing volunteering trip through Southeast Asia. You know, like an angel that fell from Europe. Is building schools in rural villages because cheap labor is very hard to find in developing countries. They're usually on their gap year. You guys know gap year is this great migration that your middle class kids go on between finishing school and never achieving anything in life. Where they go visit the countries that their countries used to own just to check up on us. It's so thoughtful. It makes me feel safe. It really does. Who would feed the baby elephants? It's the Lord's work. It's beautiful. At some point, they always take out their phones and start showing me pictures of them and their friends traveling through Sri Lanka, taking selfies with little village children, which is fine. I understand. They're very Instagrammable children. I just always wonder, what would happen if, say I snuck into a primary school in London, started rounding up little British children for an impromptu photo shoot, just get them all in one corner, like, come on kids, 1, 2, 3, Allahu Akbar, and put that on Instagram before the police show up. This would go terribly for me. Since I moved here, a lot of my friends are British, Sri Lankan, British, Indian. They'll always complain that when they're getting to know someone, they say that they're British. People always ask them, oh, but where are you really from, though? And I can never relate. I don't have these problems. Whenever I tell someone I'm from Sri Lanka, they're always like, yeah, that looks about right. If anything, you look a bit too Sri Lankan. It's a bit much. You don't even look like a city Sri Lankan. You look like a jungle Sri Lankan. You look like you escaped your tribe and stole a gay cowboy's clothes. Something I get the most often even is people like to tell me that I look a little bit like a chocolate Jesus. If I'm being completely honest, I don't even like this joke anymore. I'm just not successful enough to stop doing it yet. That is my situation. Also, isn't it more like historically accurate Jesus, though? I don't even mind. I just love the idea of millions of conservative Christians going to church every Sunday to pray to a brown socialist Jew from the Middle East. With a Mexican name? This makes complete sense. This is why the world is so messed up. Jesus has probably already come back. Jesus just couldn't get through immigration. This man is stuck applying for a visa for carpentry. It's embarrassing. So people forget sometimes, though, so just to remind them, if I'm bored on a Sunday morning, I'll just put on my favorite robe and go down to my local church like, guess who's back? I should address my name. Probably my full name is Vidura B.R. because I didn't always use my middle name. I only really started using it in a feeble attempt to distance myself from my last name. Because it happens to be the same last name as an evil president that's ruined my country. And I cannot stress this enough, I'm not related to this man, all right? I promise, I swear. He's a bad guy, like any Sri Lankans will know, but we had a long civil war that ended in 2009. He was the Minister of Defense during the time, and he's responsible for terrible war crimes, and since then, his decisions have ruined Sri Lanka's economy. But this name thing is affecting me personally, and that is unacceptable. Every time I meet another Sri Lankan, I need to explain to them that I'm not related to this guy. Usually it doesn't take too long. take a second look at me and very quickly come to the conclusion that it's very unlikely that I'm in politics. The only thing I look like I've run for recently is the bus. I just had that vibe about me. It's not just him, it's his whole family. His brother was the prime minister. He had a bunch of his cousins, cabinet. It was a family affair, and I feel like nepotism is okay sometimes. Like if you run an off-license, a corner shop, by all means, that's free labor. That's why you have the children. But when lives are on the line, that's when a line needs to be drawn. I feel like they don't let brain surgeons let their niece sub in for them when they go to the toilet. Saying stuff like, no, trust me, she's got my eyes. That's not how it works. Sri Lanka is a difficult place to be from. It's a very beautiful country, and it's nice in a lot of ways. I'm very proud of it. But it's also very troubled. It has a very violent past. It makes you feel proud and ashamed at the same time to be from there. It's the same feeling as dating someone that's incredibly attractive, but with a terrible personality. Like you'll show pictures of them to your friends all day. As soon as they want to meet them, you're just like, nah, man, she's sick. It's a bad time right now. What'd she have? Polio. It came back just for her. It's difficult. I feel bad talking badly about it. I feel like immigrants from developing countries are like rappers that made it out of the hood. After we've left, we'll talk about where we're from all day with pride. You could not pay a single one of us enough to go back. You could. It's not even a question. They don't even have a word. We get deported. That's the word. We don't go back willingly. Since I moved here, I listen to a lot of UK rap music. I listen to this guy Stormzy. He's from Croydon in South London, and I know that because he feels the need to mention it in every other song. I looked up where this man lives now. This guy lives in Chelsea, all right? He very happily forgot where he came from. It's not like immigrants were even fleeing a terrible situation all of the time. Like my family didn't have, we were pretty all right. We were sort of like Sri Lankan middle class, which I do have to iterate is very different from your middle class. So we don't go to boarding school and have topiary gardens and shit. Since I moved here, I found that Sri Lankan middle class maps very well to sort of British working class values and worldview. Hell, I've met homeless people here with more entitlement than I have. And that sounds fucked up, I realize. But I'll give you an example. I was leaving a supermarket recently, and I had my stuff with me, and I saw a homeless man outside. So I took out an apple from my bag to give to him, and I swear this dude looked me in my eye and said, "No, thank you. I don't like Granny Smith." But that's a beautiful thing. In a way, you should feel proud to live in a country where your most vulnerable people have specific fruit varietal tastes. That's amazing. I got them because they were on offer. Since I've been away from home for nearly a decade now, I was dating a lot since I first left home because, quite frankly, I also need material white people can relate to. I can, I really do. So I was on a first date a while back. I swear the first thing this girl asked me was, "So, does Sri Lanka have buildings?" And she was kind of cute, so I just went with it. And told her the story of my childhood according to the plot of The Jungle Book. Like I keep pictures of my dogs in my wallet. I just took them out like, "So that's Mama." It was a very difficult time at home right now. Uncle Baloo's got the mange. It wasn't easy, but they worked real hard, so we always had the bare necessities. I'm sorry, you deserve better. That was in bad taste. The first place my family moved to, that's why my English sounds a bit American. My family moved us from Sri Lanka when I was about 5 years old to Piscataway, New Jersey, in America. They did eventually move us home to Sri Lanka after 4 or 5 years so we could actually grow up in a more developed place. But America wasn't all that bad. It has some things Sri Lanka doesn't have. It's part of why we moved. It has very, very safe roads, for example. It has very orderly traffic. That's something Sri Lanka, like most of the developing world, can't really say it has. Sri Lankans have very tenuous relationships with traffic laws. Sri Lankans treat traffic laws the same way America treats human rights. It's more of a suggestion. It's a self-checkout type situation. America's a very easy target these days. I really feel like, rightfully so. But I don't quite like it though when British people, Europeans even, make fun of America, because I feel like they're just doing all of the evil shit that y'all used to do. But they're better at it. And now you're jealous. That's the vibe that I'm getting. It feels a bit petty. It feels a bit resentful. I think you're better than that.